late 1951, early 1952. No, I wasn't 52, but I was in Pensacola by then. They went to, at any rate, they had this big flyer they sent around, and they have a big rest camp on the big island of Hawaii, which is really a beautiful place. And so they told everybody that they're having a trip to Kilauea, which has been erupting now for a while, and they'd like for us all to be able to see it. And so they sent this flyer, and they said, now, all you need is 80 cents for lunch. But we're not going to furnish you your lunch. And so myself and another guy signed up for the 80-cent deal. We both scrounged around and found 80 cents somewhere. And so then two waves, two girl sailors signed up, and fortunately they brought a lot of money. So we went and we walked over to Hickam Field because it's just a chain link fence separating Hickam Field and Pearl Harbor. And so we walked across, got in our car, went to where did we have gone? Oh, well, we stayed right there. We actually walked across probably, and got on the flight and flew to the Big Island of Hawaii. So they didn't even have an airfield. They just had a grass runway, and so we got there at the Rest and Recreation Camp headquarters. We're standing around there looking dumb, and the Air Force were the ones that ran the plant, the place. The Navy furnished something, I don't remember what, and the Army did something else, furnished something else. And so a car drove up and says, who are these people? And they said, they're here for the Kilauea viewing. They're too late for that. Go away. Hold the phone. We're sitting there, we still had that 80 cents, so I guess we were doing pretty good. And so we went to Kilauea and watched it blow up a little bit, and we came back and went to the recreation headquarters, and there was a Air Force lieutenant, and he was in charge of it. And so we had a Air Force guide that was hauling us around. He drove us, where we needed to go, and stuff like that. And we get to Kilauea. Well, I told you about that. We got to Kilauea and still blowing up. And so we came back, and this lieutenant said, well, let them get back in it however they can. He says, they got here. Hold the phone. You talk about a trigger buster. He's the one that's, none of us were personally responsible for this. But at any rate, he told us that we had to find our own way back. And So we told the guy, he said, we're on the staff of Admiral Dennebrink. Well, we're so far down the ladder you couldn't find us. But nevertheless, he told him, he said, we're on Admiral Dennebrink's staff at Pearl Harbor, and et cetera, et cetera. He said, okay. So he thought about it, and he considered how fragile his young career at the Air Force was at that moment. And he said, okay. So he put myself and my buddy in a dormitory.
Mm-hmm.
And he put the girls, the two girls, he put them in the most beautiful place you ever saw. Beautiful lodge. It was gorgeous. And each one was individual. They weren't bigger units, you know what I mean? They weren't.
Mm-hmm.
And so we stayed there for 3 days. Every morning, there was a car would come pick us up, take us to that landing strip, which was way on the northern end of the island, and drop us off, and we'd sit there all day long playing cards. That's one time I got kind of sick playing cards. And so we sat there all day long, and of course my buddy and I, we didn't have any money. Well, the girls, they being first class citizens, they loaned us the money for our lunches. And so we sat there for 3 days. We'd get there early in the morning, we'd play cards all day long. And then the car would come pick us up. Huh?
That was the intercom.
What was that?
That was the intercom.
Oh. Well, at any rate, anyway, we flew to, we didn't fly anywhere. We were sitting there, and all of a sudden on the evening of the third day, here comes a plane, a Navy plane. And oh, brother. Well, it was a converted B-17 that had been converted to an anti-submarine plane. And of course it was just totally crammed with electronic gear. Well, so the pilots came aboard, the crew chief and all the enlisted people came, and he got them all in there and stuffed them in where he wanted them to be. And that included us, 2 guys. So the pilots came aboard and walked up to the front of the plane, and about 30 milliseconds later, the loudspeaker spluttered and said, "Send those guys up here." Mm-hmm. So we went up there, and turns out that the problem was not that they were reluctant to take us, but they didn't have enough parachutes. And says, "Well, we don't have enough parachutes to take all of you. So 2 of you will have to stay." So us being chivalrous men, we turned around and went back to our places. Well, so the plane took off, flew to Hilo, picked up some more people, and then took off. And I guess that was a trip where it didn't take on any additional people because he was already full. So anyway, we went back and started playing cards. So we played cards and played cards. So the evening of the third day, here comes a Navy plane, and it was like an airliner. It was a neat plane, very comfortable. So our chivalry had paid dividends, right? So we went and got aboard, flew to Hickam Field. Well, actually, that was Hickam Field, and so we. I can't remember the exact thing. We went and checked in. We went and checked in that we were AWOL and it wasn't our fault and all that stuff. And so by the time we got all that squared away, it was dark. It was getting dark, and so it wasn't difficult to get it squared away with the Navy. We just told them one of my historians went back to our barracks.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't care. So, at any rate, we went back to our barracks. We were stationed at the submarine base. And so here comes somebody said there was a monstrous rainstorm on the northern end of I can't remember the name of that terminal now, or that base, Navy base. Can't think of it right now. But anyway, we went back to work. Next morning, went to the office, and about a day later, here come these girls. They look awful. Of course, they've been hitchhiking in a rainstorm, and oh God, my leg hurts. And so that was virtually the end of it. All of us were exonerated. There wasn't no charges of being absent without leave. No,
Lisa, 27, please.
Quite an adventure.
Oh, it was. I've certainly forgotten nothing about it. It was more fun. It was fun to a great degree. Mainly because you were clean.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't cause it. We could go around pretty well having a pretty good time for a while, and then eventually they'd get tired of it, so they put us back to work. Who's making out of some